So what we've done is, in consultation with some of our stakeholders, realized that there was a need to receive information in, like I mentioned earlier, in a very brief, succinct, practical manner. So what we've done, we just launched it last week actually, was we actually created an online e-learning presentation on the basics of hearing protection. Now, the name itself is a bit misleading because the 15-minute presentation that is narrated and guided automatically does touch on on controlling at the source and along the path, and raises the issues of the health effects associated with noise, as well as recent changes to legislation. So it covers a broad variety of different topics, but again, there was a need to really drive home the message on the selection, care, and use of hearing protection. So that's what this e-learning tool or presentation does. And we've actually created two versions, one for workers and then another geared towards employers, Joint Health and Safety Committee members, and health and safety representatives. One thing that we recognized, especially in construction, is that oftentimes the information that we convey to the industry, language can sometimes become a barrier. And so one thing that I'm really excited about is as we speak, we're actually having these translated into 6 different languages. A few years ago, we started to deliver our Working at Heights program in 10 different languages, and so we were able to use that experience and see which were more popular and bring that into this. So, we are, hopefully by the end of this year, we'll have these available in 6 different languages on our website. So just to show you how you can get to the actual e-learning presentation on our website, IHSA.ca, we do have a tab e-learning. Scrolling down towards the bottom, and we currently soft launched this, so it's not a full launch, but once we do have all the languages available, we will be carrying out a full-fledged promotion of it. And like I said, it goes through some of the health effects associated with noise exposure, some of the legislation that applies to workplace parties, and then it gets into the selection, care, and use of hearing protection. So in a nutshell, that is it. A very brief accomplishment, I think, but I will pass it on to John now to discuss his accomplishment.
And
Mike, where do we find your online hearing protection?
Yeah, so on the website, I will speak. On the website, IHSA.ca, at the top there is a tab called e-learning. You scroll right to the bottom, and it is there, but it will become more prominent as we do get those translated languages in place.
okay, how many of you were here last year Okay, so you heard the presentation of some ideas on what to do about noise. Well, I'm here to tell you the results once it kicks in. Okay, here we go. So last year I presented about some ideas, and one of the ideas was crowdsourcing, getting workers to measure noise in their workplace. And we picked International Noise Awareness Day for that. And we thought, well, let's promote it on social media, and we'll ask the people to send the data to a database set up by OHCOW. And we created a forum to do that. So in the meantime, NIOSH released an app that measures noise. And the really good noise apps cost money, whereas this one is free, and it was well researched. It's only on the iPhone, but it was a high quality app to measure noise. And when I talked to the person who's involved in this, he was very interested in crowdsourcing. That was the intent of developing the app too. So it really seemed like the stars were aligning properly, and so we actually tested out the app on a number of. You can see. I guess you don't know which one to point at. There's a pair of speakers there in front of the noise meter sitting on the table, and a number of cell phones beside it, and then we measured it. And if you take a look there at the numbers, you'll see 78, 89, 80.7, and we actually identified a problem with the NIOSH noise app, and we worked back and forth, and they corrected it. So here's some of the data that we had at different noise levels, and you can see that on the old iPhones, things did not work well, but on the new iPhones, they worked quite well. So we also tried out some Android apps, and NIOSH had done some selection too, so they helped us out pick which ones. There are so many noise apps, and the majority of them are bad. Sometimes 30, 40, 50 decibels out of what it should be. And so we tested some of these, and we came up with a list, and we put them online of the ones that work reasonably well. We also created a web app that allows you to report the noise levels in your workplace. And we also included offices, because a lot of workers don't work in industrial areas, so we included a number of factors that are acoustic issues in a workplace. And we made a short video where we had 3 steps: download an app for your phone, go out and measure, and you see that coffee in the guy's hand? We bought that, but we didn't charge it to the Ministry of Labor, came out of our own pockets. And showing how to upload the information there. So the results, well, if 2's company and 3's a crowd, we had a crowd plus 2. Basically 4 on the date and 1 afterwards. So 5 people actually took some measurements and uploaded it, which was very disappointing for us. We were talking, well, maybe 50, 100. So the 3 results were from Ontario, 1 from BC, and 1 from South Korea. We didn't count friends and relatives who obliged us and felt sorry for us. So the 3 people found out through the CCOHS, 1 from the WSPS, which we were kind of wondering because they didn't promote our website, and 1 from a friend of a friend that moved out to BC and talked to some people there and put it in a newsletter. So the results were, and these are in decibels, offices were 44, 45, 46, and here I thought we were fudging the data, but then we got a 98, which makes absolutely no sense in an office. 1 bus driver in Ontario who measured on his bus 82 decibels. So the partners who helped, NIOSH people were great with working on the app, but they also tweeted it on their NIOSH Noise Research Twitter account. And I was hoping that it would be on the general NIOSH account, which has, I don't know, 150,000 people, but this one only has about 4,000 or 5,000. And we got 1 reply, 6 retweets, and 1 like. CCOHS tweeted it out on their 10,500 followers, and we got 8 retweets and 11 likes. The Workers' Health and Safety Center sent out an e-blast. And anybody know Andrew Coots? No? He's a master of these listservs. So if you want to get something out, you email it to Andrew, and he sends it all over the world. I think that's how the one in Korea probably found out. So anyway, these were the Twitter results. And what I did is, the little bird there is the number of tweets on the day, International Noise Awareness Day. So OHCOW, for instance, has 850 followers, and we tweeted out 8 times during the day. We got 5 retweets, 13 likes, and no responses. And if you add the number of retweets and likes together and divide it by 8 times 850, you get 2.1%. I don't know if that's the proper way of doing it, but that's the way I did it all the way down, and you can see the responses. So in total, 50,000 people potentially could read the tweets, and about 100 and my math is slow under pressure. About 130 people either retweeted or liked. Now, some of those may have been the same people, so it probably could be less than that. And NIOSH had one person who actually responded to the tweet, so it's about 0.3%. I don't know how you feel about that, but when I saw those numbers, I was severely disappointed. Now, we had some problems. There were partners who balked at doing this. We had a short space of time, and people were worried about the accuracy of the apps, with good reason. The concerns about the abilities of workers to accurately measure noise, because they weren't hygienists. Also, the concerns about the avoid noise tag, which seemed to put the onus on workers to avoid noise instead of the employers. So one of the solutions to that is, instead of avoid noise, lower noise, although that's in discussion right now. The other problem was the message got drowned out in the noise because these people wouldn't promote. I know it's a... People wouldn't promote our stuff because they had these reservations, so they were doing their own campaigns, and Mike described all the successes, and every success on that same day was crowding out our message, so we figured we better pick a different day. The other thing was, I think if we went at it alone, it probably would have worked better, which is ironic because this was one of the first initiatives where we all worked together on the same thing. The other issue is the medium. We use Twitter and social media to get people out, and Twitter is a real short attention span. I don't know how many of you have followed Twitter? You know, you scroll through these things, right? And if it catches your eye, you stop and have a look. Oh, I like that. And then off you go. So how many seconds do you have that you spend on this thing? And what we're doing, we figured it would take at least 20 minutes to an hour to go out there and take a good measurement, to upload it and things like that. So we're looking for a lot more engagement than 2 or 3 seconds on Twitter. So we're wondering if probably a better way of doing it is to recruit worker scientists. Get somebody interested, perhaps join health and safety committees who are curious, and do that. So again, as I said last year, everybody knows that noise causes hearing loss. The problem is getting somebody to do something about it. So the awareness bit, I'm not so sure. So some ideas for next year were to be recruit participants who show interest, provide a booklet with 5 steps. If you're interested in what, I have a few copies of a booklet that we put together a few years ago from some work that was done in Belgium. It was translated, and it's in the back there, but we're kind of basing it on this and trying to make it a little shorter and snappier. And pick a different date than everybody else so we get more attention to ourselves, and allow people to get more time to get buy-in, and hopefully a lot more resources.